learned about this term recently. It's called toxic positivity. It's when people tell you to be positive, to be happy, to be joyful, when in fact you're feeling sad, you're feeling down, you're in pain, you're suffering. And when you tell them that, they will just tell you, just don't mind it. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Just be positive. It sounds good, but the effect is it's toxic on you because you have this pain that won't go away. That's very real. And you're going through it, you're suffering because of it. And then people are telling you to just set it aside. Pretend it's not there. Pretend you're not feeling that. And then we'll accept you. That's the thing. People can be very insensitive. Especially today, especially in this time of pandemic. Pain and suffering, now we've already talked about the difference between the two, but regardless of the difference, pain and suffering is very real today in this time of pandemic. And yet, people can be very insensitive with what everyone is going through. Some people, just because they're not affected, they can be very insensitive about the feeling of others. They can be very insensitive on what others are going through. For example, some people are against vaccines. So they will campaign against vaccines here and there. And yet, as they campaign against vaccines because they don't believe in vaccines, some real people are really dying. They're dying because some people around them refuse to get vaccinated. Or some people who died, they refused to be vaccinated and it caused pain and suffering to the people around them. Yes, they don't believe in vaccines, but how about the people around them? Sometimes we can be stubborn about what we think is good, what we think we want to do, but we can be very insensitive to the pain and suffering that we are causing to other people. We can be very self-centered. We can be very selfish. We're just focusing on what we're feeling. How about what others are feeling? Okay, just because we're not affected, sometimes we treat others like they should be happy too, like they should be okay because we are okay. But what if they're not okay? What if they're sick? What if their family member is sick? What if someone died? What if they're going through hard times? Pain and suffering is very real, not just in this pandemic, but across history. Now, I mentioned yesterday about Siddhartha Gautama, and Siddhartha Gautama was born in the culture of Hinduism. And in the Hinduism, they explain pain and suffering through karma. And that's another thing. People throw around the word karma even though they don't really know it, even though they don't really understand it, even though they don't really believe it. How can they believe something that they don't really know? For example, there are people nowadays who would say that, oh, pandemic is a cosmic karma. It's karma for everything that humanity has done bad. Or these people experience this bad earthquake, these people experience this volcanic eruption. It's karma for what they've done bad. Now, don't just throw around the word that you don't understand. What is karma? In Hindu thinking, it's the impact of your actions, it's the consequences. It is the religious or Hindi version or parallel to the third law of motion, the law of interaction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In Hindu thinking, in Hinduism, if you do good deeds, it will reap good consequences. But if you do bad things, it will reap bad consequences. Karma, even though there's good karma, it normally refers to bad karma. And the thing is, if you tag something, a consequence, for example, a tragedy, as someone's karma, if you tag it as someone's karma, you are saying that the person deserve the pain and suffering that they're going through. And because the person deserves that, you ought not help them. Your way of helping them is not helping them. Now, Siddhartha Gautama was born in that understanding and he thought, this is wrong. This is wrong. I have to do something with people suffering. I need to help them. And so, when he went away and he meditated, the solution that he came up with is eliminate desire. Eliminate yourself. Eliminate what you feel inside, because you only suffer because you have this feeling of desire. If you remove desire, if you remove your expectation, then you will not suffer anymore. That sounds good, that sounds logical, but can you eliminate your desire? People have tried. I have heard of monks who struggled their entire lives, but they could not eliminate desire. Eliminating desire means you will move away from any form of detachment, even from your family or loved ones. Is that really possible? Can you cut your connection with everything else, not just with this physical and material world, but with your connection with people around you? We are human beings, we are social beings. We're meant to be connected. And so, across history, you will see the reality of pain and suffering, and humanity has always tried to find solutions to it. Job in the Bible experienced suffering, and when he cried out because of his suffering, even in the book of Psalms, there's so many outcries for suffering and pain. Now, in the book of Job, you see his friends went to him, sat down with him, listened to him. His friends joined him in his pain and suffering. That is probably one of the good things that we can do when people are in pain, when people are suffering. Let me ask you these two questions. Listen, and I want you to take note of them. First, are you shielded from the pain and suffering caused by the pandemic? Think about it. Second, how do you help people who are suffering from this pandemic? How do you reach out to them? How do you offer assistance? Think, meditate, and ponder on that.